Yes, Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And thank you to you and for the House for inviting the Minister here to come and update us on the situation going on in the United States. And Minister, thank you very much for a very comprehensive statement that you have made here today that should be comforting to Ghanaians, that we have a minister and a ministry who are basically being responsible in trying to deal with this situation. From what you have said, I am absolutely clear in my mind that you have plans in place in dealing with this, whether short-term, medium-term, long-term, as the Honorable Member has indicated. We cannot actually, as a country, blame President Trump for doing what he's doing. We may not like what he's doing, but he's doing it for America, for his country. We have to do what we have to do, and that's first and foremost, we have to be law-abiding citizens, as we are in our country and wherever we go. The people who have gone there are not criminals, but they are actually being brought home for a reason of not having the right documentation and all that. So we have to also advise our brothers and sisters that when they do travel, they make sure that they do what they have to do to make sure that they live in that country as legally as they can be. Just as Ghanaians, we want people to come and live here legally. But when such a situation arises, we have to be able to help our brothers and sisters. We cannot just leave them because we think they've either made a mistake. So I'm very happy with what the minister has said today. All the people that he's managed to meet, including the American ambassador here. It is important that we take our case, to where we should take it. And that's the closest you can get to Donald Trump, is actually to go to the ambassador. So I'm very happy with all the things that the minister has put in place. I wish the minister well, and I hope that, his team that is in the States and around here are actually able to help the minister. I'm sure the necessary travels will be done to make sure that our people are fine. Minister, thank you very much for coming to brief us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister, you may respond to the questions and make your concluding remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me thank honorable members for the very useful insights and comments that have been made in response to this statement. Mr. Speaker, I must also salute members for the empathy and solidarity that they have demonstrated in contributing to this statement. There are a few matters that require clarification, and I want to do that very quickly. The apparent contradiction in figures, the 3,228 on the ICE website, that has been there for more than 2 years. And we have probed those numbers, and what our mission tells us when they have inquired is that a lot of people contained in that ICE database have gone through appeals, and they have been successful with the appeals, and so the ICE will have to amend that data. They haven't done that, and that's why you have that figure on their website since that period, since it was first put out there. But what we are dealing with now are the confirmed cases for deportation, the 150. We have been given names, and We are going through the processes, identifying their nationality, confirming that they are truly Ghanaians. So we are working with 150. So officially, what U.S. authorities have communicated to us is 150. And we will urge the Ghanaian people not to panic because of those earlier figures put out on various websites. Then I can also confirm that we have engaged the IOM. The Honorable Patrick Boama said that we didn't include that in the list. Yes, we didn't include IOM in the list for the 21st, the 15th February meeting because they were not at that meeting. We were just reporting on what happened at the stakeholders meeting. As for the IOM, when you pay regard to page 7 of my presentation, you'll see that we engage them separately on another day. So I said at paragraph 22 that we are continuing discussions with IOM, NADMO, and other partners on their reintegration and supporting them with other livelihood interventions. So I can assure honorable members that we continue to engage with IOM. But there is a matter that we also have to be concerned about. We cannot expect much from the IOM because they themselves have become victims of the executive orders by President Trump. And so they don't have a lot of funding these days for what they have traditionally been doing, which means that we have to look within. We have to be more resilient and come up with our own resources to take care of our people. We cannot rely on international partners. We don't really have much support coming from our international partners. We must look within, and that's what the government has been doing so far. There's another issue I must quickly speak to, which has to do with the tickets for the returnees. Let me place on record that the U.S. authorities are bearing the cost. They are paying the ticket fares for the deportation of our nationals, and all of these deportations they are doing, they are taking care of the cost. We are only to facilitate providing the travel certificate and making sure that as receiving countries we are ready to receive them when they arrive. But we are not paying for the tickets. The U.S. authorities are handling that. Then in terms of the profile, so far I can confirm that the profiling we have done, these are indeed Ghanaians, but they are Ghanaians who did not commit any crimes. They are not hardened criminals. They are decent people. They were just in search of greener pastures, did not regularize their stay as quickly as they should and have been caught up in this. But I can confirm that these are hardworking, decent Ghanaians, very harmless. And so there shouldn't be concern in Ghana that when we accept these people and reintegrate them, they may attack anybody or undermine the safety of our nationals. They are not hardened criminals. They are not dangerous. What they need is our empathy and our care, and we should really look out for them and show them compassion. That's what they need. I do agree that the consular fund will have to be supported, and we are hoping that when it comes to the approval of the estimates, honorable colleagues will help us in that regard so that we will get the fund which has been allocated for in the budget. We hope that you join us to approve them. In terms of the children, we can confirm, as I said in the statement, that there are 4 Ghanaian children affected so far, but we are putting in place measures to make sure that they receive all the care that they deserve when they arrive in Ghana. A matter to do with stigma has been raised. which is a very important point. We need not stigmatize these 150 Ghanaians facing deportation. We must recognize that this can happen to anybody, and any of us could have been in their shoes. That is why in today's presentation we have kept their names out. We are not mentioning who they are. And indeed, when we welcome them at the airport, we also do that off camera. We don't go with media, and we do not disclose their identities. It is particularly because of the issue of stigmatization. We do not want them to be stigmatized, and so we are protecting their identity, and we will continue on that path. Now, on Panama and Costa Rica, and why I have not visited Assad yet, I can confirm to you that under this arrangement, the persons who are held in Panama and Costa Rica have the opportunity to opt for integration in these countries. That is, if they do not want to be moved to their final destination. And the checks I have done, I did make efforts. I wanted to explore the possibility of visiting. But the information that we have received at the ministry is that there are only 2 Ghanaians in this category, this Panama situation, and they have opted to be integrated and to go about their normal activities in Panama. And so if I go to the camp now, I won't find any Ghanaian there. And if any of you go to the camps in Panama or Costa Rica, you will not find Ghanaians there because of that opportunity they have. If you want to be hosted and to integrate in those transit countries, you can do that. And they have opted for that. So let me be clear, for the record, there are no Ghanaians currently in these detention camps in Panama and Costa Rica. The only 2 who made it there have opted to be integrated in those countries. And so we are fine on that score. We don't have anybody to visit in those detention camps. I believe that, Right Honorable Speaker, I have adequately responded to all the matters that have been raised. In conclusion, I want to emphasize that we are keeping an eye on their arrival, on their reintegration. We are following up. We are working with NADMO very closely. So we have their records. We call to check up on them regularly. And those who have arrived are doing fine. And as I said, we are looking at the budgetary allocations that have been made. When we get your approval, we'll look at skills training, how to support them, those who may want to start up. Because the way they were arrested, they couldn't even have access to their savings, they couldn't have access to their valuables. It was all done in a very rushed manner. And so we will need to extend support services to them. And I can give you that firm assurance that we will do that. We continue to look out for them. We will not abandon them. They are our fellow compatriots, and we are here to serve them. And that is the philosophy guiding the whole attitude towards their return and reintegration. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. On behalf of the House, I express our gratitude for you attending upon the House and making this valuable statement in apprising the House on the deportation of Ghanaian citizens in the United States of America and related matters. Once again, thank you. Honourable members, question numbered 40, 63, and 64 are directed at the Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs. And once the order paper addendum is ready and it's been loaded on the console for some time, can we proceed to take that question by coming back to item number 6 on today's order paper. Yes, Honorable Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, with respect, as you do recall, we engaged at conclave. I recognize the Minister is here, and as he's delivered the statement, ordinarily we should allow him to proceed to take the question. Speaker, we stand in breach of Order 208. Speaker, I had apprised you the need for us to make some amendments to the composed committees. So if it finds favor with you, I think we can quickly do that. I'm going to make this application to you if we can quickly do that before we proceed. Because we got the estimate are going to be considered by the various committees. And we have instances where some members belong to only a committee, which is in breach of Order 208. So if you may permit me, let's do those amendments before we proceed to take the questions.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Majority Leader.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, this was actually discussed, pre-seated, I think, in the conclave. And I think the agreement was that it cannot be done, with the current vote and proceedings. So it will have to come as a motion. And that will be done tomorrow after putting the reports and lay it tomorrow. So I think suggestion is that we'll do that tomorrow. Thank you.
Very well.
Speaker, with respect to mine, you can appeal. No, that was not the decision. Speaker, the day the Right Honorable Speaker presided, check the records. When we were correcting the vote, the Right Honorable Speaker intentionally left out those pages which contain the committees. And the advice was that he's spoken to the two whips, and the agreement, we reached the agreement that we'll find appropriate day. We were supposed to take it yesterday, and the chief whip pleaded with me, and I acceded that we should make it today. So don't tell me I should come by a motion. No, leader, with respect to you. If it's by a motion, the speaker would have advised. Is it by a motion? We can correct it here, because we have given prior notification to the speaker, and the speaker himself had directed. Where from this your motion?
The vote and proceedings today and even yesterday, we've approved both. So you cannot do it through the votes and proceedings, Mr. Speaker. That is the whole idea, that we think the report should be put together. You do your amendment, and then tomorrow. Yes. So,
Honorable members, I guess the pages containing the composition of the committees has been left out because of certain irregularities that needed to be addressed by the leaders. I sense that the real composition is not ready. That is why they are seeking to do that for tomorrow. So, Minority Chief Whip, just bear with them so that tomorrow we'll effectively deal with the issue. And then I urge the Majority Chief Whip to also timeously work on whatever corrections that needed to be done so that holistically we can take both sides tomorrow. Yes.
Speaker, we are amenable, no problem, but Hansard will bear me out that you said tomorrow. Let's stick to tomorrow. We don't want tomorrow comes and you say next week. I hope you won't do that. I hope you won't do that. Speaker, we are in agreement.
Well, I will also urge leaders to work on the delegations so that we can also take that tomorrow. Minority Chief Whip, please let's quickly work on the delegations and then the groups so that we can as well take that tomorrow. So, honourable members, we'll then come back to item number 6 on today's order paper and go to question number 40 in the name of Honourable Vincent Eko Asafwa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would want to ask the Minister for Foreign Affairs the plans of the government to ensure the accessibility of the chip-embedded passport launched by the previous government on December 2nd, 2024.
Honourable Minister, you have the floor.
Most grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's an honor to appear before this House to respond to parliamentary questions. Right, Mr. Speaker, Ghana's journey with chip-embedded passport began in 2010, where biometric passports were introduced, which should have featured a microchip embedded with the holder's biometric data, including fingerprint and facial recognition, but chip aspect was left out during the production. The plan to include chip was reactivated in 2016, but could not take place. Mr. Speaker, since it was a laudable idea to introduce chip in our passports, the previous administration in 2018 established Passport Chip Embedded Implementation Committee to ensure that the new passport is birthed. So they farmed out a portion to a private partner under a PPP arrangement. The introduction of the chip-embedded passport aligns with the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, standards, specifically ICAO Document 9303, which provides guidelines for implementing machine-readable travel documents and e-passports. This modernization effort is designed to enhance border security, reduce identity fraud, and streamline international travel for our citizens. Right, Honourable Speaker, to ensure accessibility for all eligible citizens, the government has developed a comprehensive implementation strategy inspired by best practices from other African nations that have successfully rolled out chip-embedded passports, including Ghana, Kenya, and Nigeria. The strategies include the following key measures. 1, decentralization of passport enrollment and issuance. 9 out of the 16 regions currently have passport offices. The office of the Upper East region, that's Bolgatanga, is expected to become operational later this year. The government intends to expand passport application centers to the remaining 6 outstanding regions. Those are the newly created regions, ensuring that citizens do not have to travel long distances to apply for their passports. For our citizens outside Ghana, all Ghanaian embassies and consulates are equipped to provide similar services to our compatriots abroad. Mobile passport application centers are also utilized to provide door-to-door passport services to Ghanaian communities abroad. Additionally, mobile biometric registration units can be deployed to remote locations to facilitate enrollment for those who may face challenges accessing passport offices. As honorable members may attest, my ministry recently established a studio here in Parliament to process diplomatic passports for members of Parliament. Enhance digital services for convenience. Right, Honourable Speaker, we are currently, as part of our ongoing passport reforms, integrating an online passport application system, payment and appointment to allow for citizens to initiate their applications from anywhere, reducing congestion at our passport offices. A passport application tracking system will also be introduced to keep applicants informed about the process of their applications. The system will be linked to the National Identification Authority database so that all personal information of applicants is transferred automatically directly onto the NIA system to the passport office system via the confirmation of the Ghana card number and biometric verification. Any changes to personal information such as name, date of birth, or place of birth will be done at the NIA through an update of records with appropriate documents. Right Honourable Speaker, a nationwide sensitization campaign will be launched this month to educate the public on the benefits, security features, and application processes for the new passport. Special focus will be placed on engaging communities in rural areas and vulnerable groups to ensure that they are not left behind. Affordability and phased implementation. Right Honourable Speaker, the government recognizes concerns about the affordability of the new passport and is committed to ensuring that the cost remains reasonable while maintaining high security standards. In our efforts to make passports more accessible to all Ghanaians and per instructions I have received from His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, we are pleased to announce a reduction in the cost of the ordinary passport booklet, that is the 32-page booklet, from the 500 Ghana cedis to 350 Ghana cedis. We will in the coming days be presenting an amendment to the fees and charges to ensure that this reduction is approved by the House from 500 Ghana cedis down to 350 Ghana cedis. That is the new policy position of the Mahama administration. I'm sure, Mr. Speaker, you might have read that a passport reform committee has been set up to study and review the contract which we inherited. That review is underway, and indeed all the partners are meeting tomorrow to conclude the exercise of the review. When the review of the contract is done, we will move into a phased-out rollout of the chip-embedded passports, and we expect a smooth transition from the current biometric passports to the chip-embedded passports. It is useful, Mr. Speaker, to add that we are also introducing a 24-hour passport service. The 24-hour passport service will also come with a door-to-door delivery, ensuring greater convenience, efficiency, and customer satisfaction. Applicants can now apply at any time during the day, including outside the regular working hours, and have their passports delivered securely to their doorstep, eliminating the need for in-person collection. We think that in the 21st century, when you apply for your passport and you indicate that you want it delivered to you, courier services should be able to deliver to you. You don't have to go through the stress of going back to the passport application center. So Ghanaians are going to have their passports delivered to them at locations of their choice once they indicate during the application where they want their passports delivered. Mr. Speaker, applicants must provide accurate addresses and contact details to facilitate a seamless delivery. In partnership with reputable courier providers, the Ministry guarantees secure and reliable passport distribution. The Ministry remains committed to enhancing accessibility and efficiency in passport services for all citizens. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, through these measures, the government remains committed to ensuring that the chip-embedded passport is accessible, efficient, and beneficial to all citizens in line with international best practices and our national development agenda. So by the month of April, next month, within the month of April, the good people of Ghana can expect a seamless transition from the current passports to chip-embedded passports within the month of April. That is the full assurance I can give to honorable members. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Any supplementary question?
Honorable Speaker, let me thank the Minister for a well-researched answer. except to add another question to it. Honorable Minister, I hold in my hands the committee report of the Foreign Affairs on the 2024 budget estimates of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. In that report, there was a proposal for the review of the passport fees, which proposal indicated that the cost of producing a passport is 400 Ghana cedis. The cost of producing a 32-page passport is 400 Ghana cedis. On this floor, you have indicated that the amount, or if you like, the price of the 500 Ghana cedis that is paid for a passport is to be reduced to 350 Ghana cedis. How are you going to make up for the loss of the 50 Ghana cedis? And per my indication, I do not see budget lines to take up that 50 Ghana cedis that you are reducing it to. Can you let this House know how you are going to deal with the 50 Ghana cedis?
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
I'm grateful, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to respond to the Honourable Asafwa's supplementary question. As ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee at the time, I recall that we asked for details, for evidence of the supposed government subsidy at the time. We did not receive it. Having gone to the ministry, I still haven't seen evidence that we were subsidizing passports. Some figures were put out, but there was no supporting evidence. And the work we have done with our colleagues at the ministry, we are confident that the 350 Ghana cedis will not put us in any indebtedness. There will be no loss to the state. We will not be causing financial loss, and will not require subsidies. We will not have to subsidize. And don't forget that this 350 cedis is still an increment from the previous 100 Ghana cedis at the time that this PPP arrangement was negotiated. So we have seen a jump from 100 cedis to 500 cedis the last time the increment occurred. And you recall that my position at the time as ranking member is that having one increment, such a quantum leap from 100 cedis to 500 cedis, was just unconscionable, and it was too draconian. And you could tell that the Ghanaian people have not received this well. There's been a lot of considerable agitation across the length and breadth of our country. And as MPs, we can all confirm our constituents are complaining about the high increment from 100 to 500. That is why the new Mahama administration is saying that we have listened to Ghanaians. We want to make our passports more affordable. When we make it affordable, we believe that Ghanaians will even access it more, and there will be an eventual benefit, a win-win situation for all. So be assured that there will be no indebtedness, there will be no need for subsidies, and there will be no shortfall requiring an allocation in the budget. The 350 cedis is a good reduction that the good people of Ghana deserve. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any further supplementary question?
Right Honourable Speaker, I am quite surprised to hear from the Minister that there's no basis or no documentation to support the 400 Ghana cedis that had been stated in a committee report, a committee that he was the ranking member to. But I will not litigate it. But the impression I'm getting here is that the 400 Ghana cedis that was given
Honorable Asafwa, you are to ask a supplementary question.
By the passport office is not something that has any basis. That is the indication we are getting in this house. But I will go on with my second question. My second question to the Honourable Minister is from his own answer. The basis is from his own answer. If you check paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, paragraph 9, you said, additionally, mobile biometric registration units can be deployed to remote locations to facilitate enrollment for those who may face challenges accessing passport offices. As honorable members may attest, your ministry recently established a studio here in Parliament to process passport for members of Parliament. My question to you is, with respect to persons who are in urgent need of passport, who may be found in our various hospitals, what are your plans to deal with such requests? Are you going to collaborate with the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, so that it will not be an issue of whom you know? I am hearing that there are some persons who will be in need of passports at a time, and they may not be able to get any support from the passport office, because the passport office will tell them that even with the mobile facilities, they may have to go to a certain point. How are you going to deal with the Ministry of Health to be able to make sure that such persons can be supported or assisted to be able to get the passports, even at the hospitals?
I'm grateful, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to respond to Honourable Asafua's second supplementary question. It's a very important question on the mobile services that the Passport Office is currently rendering. And Mr. Speaker, I'm sure that you will be happy to hear that apart from the deployment we did recently for members of Parliament, there is currently ongoing, as we speak, a special deployment we have done at the Hajj village. Our Muslim brothers and sisters who have to perform that important pillar of Islam, they don't have to stress to go to the passport application centers. We have set up an application center for them at the Hajj village. And so it's another evidence of the reforms and the dynamism that we are introducing. For people who need urgent passports on medical grounds, as the Honorable Asafua has raised, I want to draw attention to the fact that as part of the services that the Passport Office carries out is a service known as expedited service. So for those with emergencies, those who probably medical emergency, business emergency, a student who has to meet a timeline, we have in the structure of the services that the Passport Office renders what is known as expedited service. You pay a little more and then you can have your passport within the same week. So that expedited service is available, and we will urge, I think that sometimes it's probably lack of public education, public awareness. So we are intensifying that so that Ghanaians would know, nurses, doctors who are attending to these patients who may have to fly them out can make themselves available for this service. So we have the expedited service which takes care of emergencies, and that is available in those circumstances. In terms of whether we can create an avenue where these expedited services can be made mobile and relocated to hospitals, because you are not too sure where the emergency call will come from, I think that it's better for us to maintain the expedited arrangement so that once you call and there's evidence that this is a medical emergency, then our people will respond promptly. And I can tell you that the Passport Office is doing very well. Our staff there, they are very responsive. There was an expedited case this week. One of our colleagues needed a passport done the same day, within 24 hours. And our colleague can confirm that we were able to do that. Our Passport Office is really delivering, and they are very efficient. And so I think that the emergencies that our people will require in those times, they can rely on the expedited service to solve those problems. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Asafua, your last supplementary question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I must commend the Minister. This is a huge relief for persons who sometimes on medical grounds suffers to be able to attain passport, except to add that when such requests come, we have to find a way where Ghana Health Service will have a role to play, so that even if you don't know anybody in political office, you would be able to be attended to. My last question to you stems from the committee report in 2022 of the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the Foreign Affairs Committee, the 2022 annual budget estimates of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. And item number 14.2, chip embedded passport. I'll read the second paragraph. The committee was informed that the project will be executed in partnership with a private company within a 10-year period, and the total cost of rolling out the project for the first year is $23 million. The profit sharing structure for the first 4 years is 30% for government and 70% for the private entity. For the subsequent 6 years, it is expected to be 35% for government and 65% for the private entity. The weighted average cost of the capital is rated at 9.75%. So, Minister, my question to you is that at least this is the terms of the contract that is existing. In the event that you finally roll out the chip-embedded passport, maybe somewhere around this year, are you going to maintain these terms of the contract between the government and the private sector? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I did say in my response to an earlier question that the contract is currently under review, and we have a crucial meeting tomorrow. I'm very transparent. I have indicated that I think that we can do something about those terms, and the government of Ghana can be in a better position than what has been earlier negotiated. Because we have not concluded the review, but we are pushing towards better terms for government. As it is now, it's skewed 70-30, 60-40 in favor of the private investors. But we are reviewing and pushing for better terms. So since we have not concluded, I do not want to preempt the negotiations. But just to say that we are fighting hard in the national interest for some better terms for the government and people of Ghana. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Patrick Yabong, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Minister, in your answer, you spoke about the principles of reasonability and affordability as the driving force to your quest to reduce the passports from 500 Ghana cedis to 350 Ghana cedis, subject to an amendment to the Fees and Charges and Miscellaneous Act that the Minister of Finance will be presenting to this House. But you cannot, Mr. Speaker, my question is, a minister cannot review the contract without the Attorney General's involvement. Two, what I know, Mr. Minister, is that a transaction advisor has been requested by you, by your ministry, to provide scenarios for the extension of the contract under which is being operated from 10 to 12 years to give you an indication whether you can take care of their losses or their profitability levels. One, because you haven't seen the scenarios. Two, you are going to be looking at the operating cost, maintenance cost, the software and staff and other resources that the PPP arrangement has put in place. So my question to you is that you not having gone through the scenarios, not a review. How sure are you that you are telling the good people of this country the truth, that you want to reduce passport price from 500 cedis to Ghana, 350 Ghana cedis? Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there are a number of issues that the Honourable Patrick Boama raised. The review of the contract. I can assure the Honourable Patrick Boama that certainly the Attorney General's opinion will be sought. At this point, we are negotiating, and certainly the Attorney General, I've told you that it's under review. We have not concluded. I made that point clear, that we have not concluded the review. Once we conclude, it will be sent to the Attorney General for the Attorney General's final advice. On pricing, I can assure you that we have spoken with the transaction advisor and we've looked at all the modeling. So when you work on the fees, it will have some possible impact on the duration of the PPP arrangement. So we have analyzed all of that. But the firm assurance I can give you is that what we'll be presenting to this House, the fees and charges amendment, you will see a reduction from 500 to 350. That we have agreed. We are not compromising on that. And it is a fait accompli. Nothing is going to change about the fees. What may change in the review process is the duration. Do you do 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, 13 years? But as for the pricing, you know, because there are two factors. Once you hold one constant, the price, the 350 cedis, you have flexibility to deal with the other factor. So you can be well assured. You can be well assured. As for 350 cedis, we are not compromising. We are not compromising on that aspect. We are here for the Ghanaian people, and we must ameliorate their plight. Thank you very much.
Honourable Member for Kumbugu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. And then let me commend the Minister for tackling the challenges of the passport industry head on. My quick question is, what plans do you have to decentralize the passport services at the district level?
Well, thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the plan now is to regionalize and make sure we have passport application centers in all the 16 regions of Ghana. We do not currently have plans to have district offices. We take the view that the reforms we are carrying out, the delivery, the 24-hour operations, reducing the waiting period and all of that, should suffice. Once you have regional offices, the courier service will make sure that your passport is delivered to you wherever you are in the region. So we do not think that it will be good use of taxpayer resources to say we are going to be building district offices. We think that the regional offices should be enough. It should suffice so that the courier services will then carry out the remaining legwork, make sure that you get your passport in good time. So for now, we don't think that it is prudent use of taxpayer funds to say we are going to build district offices across our 276 districts or constituencies in Ghana. We just want to build the regional passport application centers and then do the mobile delivery through courier service. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Honourable former Minister.
Okay. Okay, I would like to know from the minister when you will start printing the booklets in the regions instead of only in Accra.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important question. The contract I have seen so far, the printing is centralized, even for those outside the country, our missions abroad, they have to rely on Accra, the headquarters, for the printing. Because it's a security document and because it's chip embedded, how sensitive it is, I have been told by the experts that it is advisable that it remains centralized. But what we should do is to strengthen the delivery network so that once it's printed, it can be delivered across the country and then to our compatriots abroad using our embassies in an efficient manner. So since the experts have advised that we should keep the printing centralized, I want to go with that. And I think that what we should now focus on is to make sure that the delivery is done in good time so that particularly those who may need expedited service, they do not have challenges so that they can get their passports in good time when they require them. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I'll give the floor to Honorable Francis Xavier Soso.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the answers of the Honorable Minister, he has justified the major policy shift from 500 cedis cost of passports to 350 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, I would want the Minister to elaborate what may have, what factors really justified this major policy shift, because changing the price of passports from 500 to 350 is a major one. Would we lose revenue by doing that, or are we going to get more revenues by doing that? If the Minister could elaborate what factors led to this major shift in the change of prices. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the overarching factor is affordability. We have received numerous complaints from the good people of this country about the high fees. And you recall there was quite an uproar and an outreach when the new fees came into effect. And so we are responding to the concerns of the people as a listening government. The analysis we have done in terms of the cost to the country, we believe that with this reduction, many more people are going to now apply for passports and renew their passports. And ultimately, looking at the figures, it will rather bring in more revenue. So we are not going to have revenue losses at all. On the contrary, because it's going to lead to an uptick, many more Ghanaians are now who are staying away. And so we're not getting the numbers as anticipated. We now are going to have higher volumes. And with these higher volumes, we would rather rake in more revenue for our country. So we've done the analysis, and it's a win-win situation. We'll benefit in terms of the national coffers, and then the affordability concerns of Ghanaians will also have been addressed. So I don't see any loser in this equation. Even for the private partners, they would also eventually find this beneficial because it will also increase their profit margins. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Minority Chief Whip. Minority Chief Whip, you have the floor. Leadership should wind up. We have two more questions.
Speaker, let me take the minister back to parts of his own answers, I think paragraph 5. as answers to question 45, introducing 24-hour passport services with door-to-door delivery. Speaker, the minister do know that the government is yet to bring a policy on the 24-hour economy to Parliament. I am also aware, up to this stage, we don't have a definite explanation what the 24-hour economy is all about. In fact, then candidate John Mahama says the 24-hour economy is not compulsory. My question to the minister is, now that we don't have a definite policy, what are you anchoring your 24-hour passport delivery on? Because we don't have a definite policy yet. We are told they are yet to bring it to Parliament. So what are you anchoring this on? And he also mentioned expedited action or services. And he says the reason for the reduction is for affordability. But he also says the expedited service would have to be paid for. Why won't government be absolute in terms of bearing costs if you are reducing from 500 to 300, 300 plus or 300? And then on the expedited service delivery, you are saying that people have to bear the cost. Is it a question of you picking and choosing or not sure of what to do?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Well, I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Minority Chief Whip will agree with me when I say that there is a recent example that they have demonstrated in this country. They implemented free SHS successfully without a policy and a law. And after many years, they came here a few weeks ago before the elections of 2024. They came to this house saying that they want us to support them with a law, long after they have implemented. So that scenario teaches us that it is very possible to implement government programs without a policy blueprint or without a law. It is very, very possible. So there is no need to say that you haven't seen a policy or a blueprint, and so we cannot go ahead with our 24-hour services. Your own example teaches us that. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I can assure the Honorable Minority Chief Whip that very soon you are going to see the 24-hour blueprint. It's a very, very exciting policy. The TUC has called it a game changer. AGI is excited about 24-hour. And we don't know what is complex about 24 hours. Ghanaians working 3 shifts, increasing productivity, creating more jobs for our people. It's as simple as that.